Welcome to Kłodzko, which is in Hang on a minute. Two-tailed lion with crown? How come this is not a Bohemian land?
Ahoy! We are back again on the road after our short adventure from Albania.
But this time we won't be traveling too far away from our home. As usual, during the summer it is quite hot, and a lot of Czechs people this year, instead of going to Croatia, they drive to Poland, which will be the same on our side.
But those who watch us for some time know that in winter we drive south to the sea and in summer we drive to mountains.
And since Poland is a one big flat land, there is not much to choose from. Because we already once visited the Krkonosze mountains from the Polish side, there were only two options left.
So our first area to explore is Kłodzko, otherwise in Polish Kłodzko.
I have to say the Kłodzko Basin is to me like we are still in the Czech Basin, but in mini version.
There are still small hills, conifers and trees and lots of hiking trails.
And I am very surprised how well their hiking trails are equipped. Almost every resting point has its own large parking lot and a fireplace. In Bohemia, our hiking trails are not equipped like this at all. In addition, in Czech Republic it is always a big question whether we can make a fireplace at all on the hiking trail or in a relaxing place in the forest. Here at least they have dedicated and equipped place for it. Although, there are two things here that really vex me. For how well these places are equipped, there is a strict ban on sleeping in the forest or even in these dedicated places. Then what's the point having it so equipped here, if you can't come here with friends to have a beer and sleep in the nature?
In such a well-equipped place that is literally made for it, it would be great to be able to sleep at least one night. It's a shame it's not allowed here. I would be interested in the reason why this is so. I wonder if they had a bad experience with one-lifers here. Then whenever we were, the one-lifers took care of their surroundings, cleaned after themselves and often after others, so that they wouldn't have garbage around them.
Well, and the second problem. That one we already encountered in the Krkonosze mountains, where we entered a national park, which is simply a forest. And now I'm not kidding, it's not a joke. A lady with a payment terminal in her hand ran out of the bushes at us to pay for being in the forest. I encountered this for the first time in my life, that you have to pay for being in the nature. And I originally thought that the lady was just trying to trick us.
But no, it's a real. National parks in Poland are paid.
So as soon as you cross the borders of the national park and don't buy an online ticket or go through the guarded places by these workers and pay, then you can get a hefty fine for, well, that you wanted to be out of the civilization. Even in those parking lots that are on the edge of those national parks, they don't allow sleeping in the vans.
Unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, long trips with our little traveler were not exactly possible. She wanted to walk on her own, and because of her little tiny legs, she still can't walk away too far. And when she had been tapping for a while, she started to get more interested in Adri than some forest and adventure ahead. So she was either playing with Adri or stopping the stroller. And when we were carrying her, it wasn't much better either.
Well, then we didn't get far from the van. Therefore, we had to choose a slightly different strategy regarding our travel, namely to find the most abandoned place with the best possible view, or already fully equipped without any payment if possible, so that our little traveler doesn't have it too far.
Anyway, we will have to wait before we go on some long adventure again, like when we decided to go for Kachkar in Turkey.
Also, when we drive along the Czech-Polish borders, I have noticed that a lot of Czechs live on the Polish side just across the border. And I have to say, I'm not surprised. Not only you will pay much more for the land, material for the house and work than in Poland, but you can also wait a very long time thanks to our amazing long building permits, in which we are 157 out of the 190 countries in the world when it comes to the speed of those approvals. Compared to the Poles who were in the 18th place, so it doesn't take that long that you are not held up by the crazy bureaucracy. Although they just fell to the 39th place now, and it will probably be worse. Because I heard that in mid-2026 they will be implementing our stupid ideas where the clerk will be telling landowners what they can build on their own land. Like for example, no family house may be built unless there is a school nearby within 6-kilometer range. And what I have talked to the Poles on this topic, they are not so happy about it. By the way, when I mentioned the lower prices, we found a super restaurant with fried trouts. And if Czechs are great at something, it's finding a cheap things, but a good things. Well, and as you can deduce, this restaurant was full of Czechs, because those prices are simply unbeatable, and that was a working day.
Ten vypadá jako krokodil, ten veliký. Ten vzadu vypadá jako medvěd. Tady je Adrík. Vypadá jak Adrík. Aha, to mi připomíná Adríka. Co ty? And since we were on the borders, we also went to Neratov, where there is a unique church with glass roof.
Chceš plácnout koně, jo? Že nám stojí v cestě. Čuzin. Ale. When we finally arrived in Kłodzko, I pondered at their county emblem. After all, this has to be Bohemian symbol. How come they have it here? The Kłodzko Basin is first mentioned in Cosmas Chronicles, where according to him, the Slanik dynasty ruled here, serving the Przemysław dynasty. And the Przemysław family from the 10th century to the 12th century constantly fought with the Polish książęta about this land, specifically from the Piast dynasty, which eventually created the Kingdom of Poland. So the Poles ruled here from time to time, but in 1137 thanks to the Sobieslav I, he permanently established peace with the Boleslav III, and with this peace he won the Kłodzko Basin. Although it was under Bohemian Kingdom, it was mainly inhabited by the German settlers afterwards. During the reign of Habsburg, specifically Maria Theresa, Kłodzko was separated from the Bohemian crown after the First Silesian War in 1742 with the Prussians, and so they became a part of the Kingdom of Prussia and later Germany. After the First World War, Czechoslovakia requested Kłodzko and was even willing to exchange it for Cheb and its surrounding with Germany. Unfortunately, the Treaty of Versailles insisted that the Kłodzko belonged to Germany, and after the Second World War, thanks to the Soviet Union, the territory of Kłodzko was assigned to Poland. As a result, there was almost an armed conflict between Czechoslovakia and Poland over this, which eventually was stopped by the Soviet Union. which leaned towards Poland, and unfortunately this resulted in the eviction of the German and Czech population from the Kłodzko region in 1958. And so this land, with Czech history and Bohemian symbols, remained in the possession of Polish nation without Czechs.
This is the end of our video, but our adventure is not over yet. Join us when we release the next part where we move through Beskids to the last and even more mountainous place in Poland.
So until then, ahoj!